This conference will now be recorded.
The webinar will be recorded and it will be sent to you within a few days so that you can get the material and refresh your memory. I want to thank Curtis for being here and being our presenter today. His story is very, very interesting, and I'm going to just tell you a little bit about Curtis Borja before we get started. So Curtis has over 20 years in the hospitality industry. At the age of 15, his first internship job was at the Guam Visitors Bureau. And he learned during this internship that if you really want to get something, you really have to go after it. And you can have pretty much anything that you want. From there, he landed his first job at Hotel Sunroute in Guam as a front desk representative. And Sunroute was then bought by another hotel industry company called Outrigger, and he spent 9 years at Outrigger. In 2008, he and his family made the decision to move to Las Vegas to continue his journey in the hospitality industry, and that's when he began working for the Winn Resorts. And over his career, he has been following the golden rule: treat others the way you want to be treated. So, Curtis, I'm going to leave it to you now, and thank you so much for presenting this webinar.
Absolutely. Before I begin, can you hear me?
I can. If everybody can, let me just unmute everyone. Hold on one second. Yep, we're all set.
Perfect. All right. Well, I first want to say thank you so much, Liz, for welcoming me to this. It's an absolute honor. I really love being a part of the community and helping out as much as I can, especially during these difficult times. It's amazing to see individuals that have logged on to this webinar that made a choice to make the commitment to invest in themselves even during these times. So pat yourself on the shoulder. You made a choice today to invest in yourself. So that is one step closer to really discovering having a growth mindset. So great job. Like Liz said, thank you for the quick intro. I'll be going over that in a bit about my personal adventures. But yeah, I've been in the industry for 20 years, been working since I was 15, and this is actually the first time I've ever had facial hair. So this quarantine life is new to me as well. But just like everyone else, we're adapting. Um, so if we want to begin, Liz, we can go ahead and start filtering through the PowerPoint. So what we're going to be talking about today is having a growth mindset. And what does that mean? These 5 topics that we'll be talking about. We'll be discussing about my journey and what I've done to get me where I am today. Just like we've been talking about, been doing this for 20 years. Then my take on what does it mean to have a growth mindset, discovering yourself, setting goals, understanding what does failure mean, and then just some tips of success that has really helped me become who I am today. All right, guys. So here's my story. Like Liz and I've been saying, I started at a very young age. Growing up, I was from a family that was divorced. I grew up at grandma's house with 15 other cousins. So I really was in a place where if I wanted something, I had to go get it. I landed my first job at Guam Visitors Bureau, where I had an opportunity to work for all the areas in that establishment. I was there for less than 9 months. It was an internship program where I got to earn credits for school and build an experience. I did human resources, planning and development, marketing and sales, administration. It was kind of the beginning of my journey to what I do now in the hospitality industry. After I did that time at Guam Visitors Bureau, I landed my first job in a hotel as a front desk representative, which eventually carried over to Outrigger Guam Resort. If you're not or are familiar with Guam, Guam is a U.S. territory which is about 30 miles long, 4 miles wide. It's a small island that I call home. I was born and raised, so are my family, my parents' parents. So I kind of consider myself a native of an island. I've learned everything I could back home, and I spent the 9 years at Outrigger. If you are familiar with the hotel, I had the opportunity to work in majority of all the departments at Outrigger. I did housekeeping, front desk, concierge, bell desk, room reservations, revenue management, human resources. I was really blessed and fortunate to be a part of great leaders that saw the fire in me to want to grow, and that is kind of what always drove me. Every day I went to work was just the strive and the hard work ethics that I put forward every day. After about 9 years at Outrigger, my last role at Outrigger was a front service manager. Throughout my slide, I'm gonna talk about what drives and what pushed me to go other places. Uh, one of the one of the pushes that have really inspired me was my family. If you met me 10 years ago, before I left Las Vegas, if you were to say, Curtis, what do you think about leaving Guam and moving to the United States? I would have told you you're crazy. I was very happy where I was at. I was working for a great company. I held a director role at a very young age. I was a department head. I said, no, not happening. But my wife and my son encouraged me to come out here, sorry, to the United States. And that's where my journey began at Winn Resorts. So I left as a department head in Guam to start as a front desk agent at one of the biggest, most well-known properties in the United States, which was Winn Resorts. It holds the most independent five-star awards in the world. So to know that I was transferring from what I believe was my home in Guam to Las Vegas to work for one of the most prestigious companies in the world uh, was was very exciting for me. So I left everything back home with no job lined up in Vegas, just on the hopes and dreams that with my experience, with my work ethics, with my values, that I was gonna eventually get a job at Wynn Resorts. So my wife and my son at the time, 2 years old, we packed our bags, and within 3 months we left. We came to Las Vegas. We had one family member out here, but that was it. We had no one else. So I started applying. I eventually got the job as a front desk agent. It was funny because as I was applying for jobs, people would be like, "Where's Guam?" They didn't know what Guam is. So a lot of the experience I acquired, the director role, the restaurant manager, it was almost like it wasn't carrying the weight that I needed to find the role that I wanted here in Las Vegas. So I made a decision just to get a job and work my way through, and then eventually with my hard work, I get where I want to be. So I started front desk agent at Wynn Resort, and I'm gonna fast forward 10 years because now today I've hit just approaching, what is it, 2009. So I'm just over 10, 11 years with the company. Um, Wynn Resorts was amazing. Really, the one thing Wynn Resort strives on is employee satisfaction, employee happiness, and encourages growth, which is the same values that I valued as an individual, as a young leader. So I started front desk agent. Did all the line level roles within the hotel, and then I got promoted to a supervisor. Then I was a manager, then a department head, then I worked convention. Within the 9 years at Wynn Resorts in Las Vegas, I had about 9 or 10 jobs. So I almost had a different role every year. Then 2 years ago, the president of Wynn Resorts at the time uh, informed me that they were opening a property in Boston. And I am a diehard Patriots fan since I want to say 1999. That was when I was first introduced to Patriots. And the president of Wynn Resorts knew that I had a passion for the Patriots. So he asked me if I would be interested in applying for a role to be a part of the opening team for Encore Boston Harbor. And I couldn't turn that down. I said, absolutely. And that is when my journey began to move over to Encore Boston Harbor to currently hold my role as Director of Front Services. This is my first director role since I left Guam, and it's been an amazing journey opening a property here in Boston. There's no casino like ours here, and service, happiness for employees is our main focus every day. I love this company because it has the same values I hold dear to myself. It's taking care of the staff and taking care of the guests. Once we do that, everything else falls into place. I have a very strong passion for all of that. When did I discover my passion? I discovered it at 15 when I first started. Just like every young teenager, I did not know what I wanted. I was approached by a professor who came to our school, our high school, to give us a speech about why we should choose hospitality as our career. At the time, I said, I don't know if that's what I want to do. I'd rather be a doctor, a policeman, a fireman. And over time, that fire just built in me, knowing that I will get paid to take care of people, knowing that I could make a living making people happy, knowing that I can inspire others, young leaders, other staff, other guests to be the best they can be, knowing that I could be a part of people's journey when they come to our hotel. They come for a milestone experience, anniversary, wedding, birthday, whatever that is, knowing that I could play a part in that experience was all I needed. That was all the drive I needed to really inspire me to grow. I love everything about the hospitality industry. One of the other pieces I love is inspiring young leaders. I currently oversee 6 or 7 departments, and I have 150 plus employees that are below me, and I have about 10 or 12 managers that also report to me. These managers, I train them, I guide them, I mentor them, because my goal one day is to hope that they take over my shoes. If I know that they're successful in their career, then I know I've accomplished what I wanted to do in my career. Here's the reality, guys. I spend more time at work with my coworkers than I do with my family. So you got to find what drives you. When you pick a passion, when you pick a career, you got to find something that you love and enjoy. Because you know that saying, it's actually a reality. Is you got to go to work and make it feel like it's not work, like you're just having a good time. And that's really where my mindset's at. And that's because I choose to have that mindset. I choose to focus my development and my positive uh, vibe towards my career. I'm also very competitive. My surrounding people always tell that to me. My friends, my family, my coworkers. Uh, in the hospitality industry, it's very competitive, and you can say that same remark to almost any career path you pick. I love competition. Put me up against anyone that has, whatever trait they have. Knowing that they're better than me just gives me more of a fire to want to be better myself. Always invest in yourself. Take one step closer to your growth every day. 1% increase today, after 100 days, that's 100% of an improvement to you. Never stop, because really and truly, no one makes that choice but you. Why do I do what I do? Like I said earlier, my family is my sole driver for this whole thing. We are now here in Boston, and it's just us three that are here in Boston, and they have been driving me to really encourage my growth. So that's my sole driver. Always be the best version of yourself. No one knows you best than you. I'm going to relate to that later in the slides, but you got to bring your best foot forward. Because if you work hard and you strive to be the best version of you, you're going to get the results you want. I talked about this earlier again, staff investment. I love investing in my employees, no matter what level they're in, knowing that I hold the key in some sort of way to the future of people who apply for jobs, right? During our pre-opening days for Encore Boston Harbor, we hired over 5,000 employees, but we must have interviewed over 20 or 30 or 40,000 employees. So knowing that if I said yes to one employee, that is his future that could potentially lead to his success in 10, 20 years. He could be the next president of our property. You never know. So knowing that I hold a key to someone's future in their career meant a lot. So every interview I've done, I've always put my heart and focus to ensure that we pick the right person for the job. And then whoever we pick, we invest in them for their growth. That inspires me, and that gives me purpose. I talked about earlier again, I love the impact that guests experience on property. Whenever I impact a customer on a positive note for whatever celebration they come to property for, 10, 20 years from now, they still reach out to me and say, we're friends now, because I've impacted their lives in a way that, they'll never forget about it. And I also have that same experience. I've traveled the world too. Whenever I travel, I always remember that one employee that remembered my last name, something so simple as greeting me by name every day. And I've built that relationship with a lot of guests over the 20 years I've been in the industry. Future opportunities. There's, like I've been talking about, Winn Resorts. This company has promoted me 11 times in the 11 years I've been with them. They've invested in me as much as I've invested in them. And I see nothing but growth with this company. So whatever path you pick, whatever career you pick, whatever company you pick, make sure they have the same values and goals that you have. Because if your goals are to travel, if your goals are to be whatever that is, you got to make sure the company is in that same direction. And that's why I stay with Winn Resorts, because they have the same values and the same directions that I set forth for myself. So that is my journey, and we'll move on to the next slide, Liz. Thank you. Kind of to recap everything I've said, I want this message to kind of ingrain in your head as we go through all the slides. You hold the keys to your life. No one else. You make the decisions. You decide your fate. And the choices you make will define your growth. So if you choose, like today, you chose to be a part of this webinar, guess what? Congratulations, you're defining your growth. So today, while you're going through this presentation and afterwards, and you get time to think about, look at all your notes, make the choice to have a growth mindset. Remember, to get something you've never had, you will have to do something you've never did. So if you're not happy where you're at for whatever reason, you've got to do something if you want to see change, right? There's that very famous change, what is it? You can't, if you keep doing it over and over, you're doing the same thing, you never see change. So you have to change something. That's the only way you're able to get somewhere that you've never been. Before you can ever set a growth mindset, you've got to discover yourself. That is the reality. You've got to dig deep within and really understand, who am I? You gotta really know you, right? So let's go through, what does that mean? You gotta evaluate your surroundings. Be with the people that encourage you to succeed. In my case, it was my family. I had family that would push me, to the limit. Even though I knew I was at a cap, they said, you can do it, keep going. You've got to surround yourself by people that will encourage you. Now, if you can't find that, there's great ways to get involved. Example is Taylor for Success. There's amazing programs out there that it can assist you and guide you and support you in your growth. Surround yourself by people you aspire to be. I'm sure you guys heard this many times. I have a teenager, so what I think about him at school is whoever he hangs out with, he's going to eventually be. If you want to be strong in your role, whatever that is, surround yourself by leaders, individuals, powerful speakers that you want to be like. Because eventually, after keep doing it repetitively, it's eventually going to get ingrained in you, and you're going to be a part of them. So surround yourself by people that you aspire to be or have the same values to be, just like how I connected myself with Winn Resorts. Discover a mentor that shares the same values as you. Throughout the course of my career, the 20 years, I have 3 mentors that I hold dear to my heart. And the funny thing is, they probably don't even know they're my mentors. It's just I've chosen them as my mentors because of their work ethics. The greatest things that I've always learned, that you can, having a great leader and having a bad leader, you can take great things out of both, right? Because when you have a great leader, you can take all the amazing things they do and apply it to your work ethics. And then when you have a bad leader, which I know those exist too, you can take all the bad things they do and be like, I ain't doing that again, or I ain't doing that to my leader or my staff. So throughout my 20 years, I've just been taking notes, just listening in, just respecting the process, and knowing that, eventually I will get my time. I will, get where I want to be, because I'm going to strive every day, because no one is measuring my success but me. I'm going to choose today to invest in myself. In relation to discovering yourself, you got to be the best version of yourself. What does that mean? You have to be the hardest working person in the room. I know that sucks. That's hard, right? Because if you were to be on a track and field and you're up against Usain Bolt, and I was like, go be the fastest person on the track. You're like, that's impossible because Usain Bolt is faster. But you got to be the hardest working person. I didn't say you got to be the fastest person working there. So you got to work hard. Work hard will always give you results that you want. That is a simple formula that all the greatest leaders in the world have followed. So you got to work hard. Work hard. Be a hard worker. And no one can measure how hard you're working but you. You're the person that dictates that. So always work hard. Never stop learning. Education is the one thing no one can take away from you. No one can ever take that away from you. Never stop learning. Invest in yourself through education, through experience, through support systems, through webinars like this. Always invest in yourself every day. 1% investment every day will get you to where you want to be. Having a mindset that you're always in an interview. This is a mindset that I take with me everywhere, and it's because I had a very bad experience at a young age. I think I was in shorts and a very non-professional shirt, and I went to work to pick up a paycheck, if I can remember correctly. And I bumped into the president of the hotel, and I was just so ashamed of how he saw me during my non-work hours. And I realized that, especially in the role I am now, sometimes we never forget key moments like that, that kind of ingrained. So when I say have a mindset that you're always in an interview, every time you're in front of a colleague, in front of a boss, in front of a former boss, a future boss, always present yourself the best way, the best version of yourself, because you never know. You never know if your colleague that you've been working with for 10 years, you never know if 2 years from today, he's going to get promoted to be the next president of your company. And now you shared 10 years with him and you were nothing but unprofessional and you didn't show commitment or didn't have good work values. Focus and always be prepared that you're in the interview mindset, that you bring in your best self, right? Be the first person to the meeting. For the record, Liz, I was the first person to this meeting because it sets ground, right? You're kind of tricking your mind that if I'm the first person here, then you're being the hardest person working, right? So always be the first person to a meeting, and if possible, be the last person to leave. It's simple things like that that will start building trends and habits in your work style that will get you to where you want to be and eventually create a character that you'll eventually discover for yourself. Your biggest competitor is yourself. Let me repeat that again. Your biggest competitor is yourself. I don't know about you, but it's hard, right? Because there's so many social medias. You're always comparing your life to other people's lives. You're like, oh, I want to be like that. I want to be this successful. I want to do that. I want to do this. And you're always comparing to others. Stop. Your biggest competitor is yourself. Compete against yourself. Be the best version of yourself. If you're going to do something, do it the right way the first time and apply that work ethic to everything, right? Whatever. You can do it at work. You can do it in your personal life. You can do it in a relationship. You can do it in parenting. If you're going to do it the right way every time. Have that mindset to do it the right way. In the house, one of my responsibilities is cleaning the toilet. And it's not an easy task, but I do it perfect the right way so that I have to go back and redo it again, right? Because if you have a wife like mine, she always has to come and inspect your work, and she has to make sure it's done the right way. So do it the right way. Ask yourself, are you happy? Do you get excited to go to work, right? Wherever you're currently working, whatever you're currently doing, are you happy? And do you get excited to come to work? A story I want to share with you is I used to share with my staff is when you first get hired at a job, you're nervous, you're excited, you sometimes have chills and you sweat, right? Every time you're on your way to work because you're so excited. You're like, oh, first day of work, I get to work for one of the most prestigious companies in the world, and there's so much energy in you. Do you still have that same energy, that same excitement 10 years after working at your job, 15 years, 5 years, 6 months? Like, does that excitement still live in you? And what I used to tell my staff is if the answer is no, then maybe you got to change your path because you got to find a way to stay excited, stay engaged. Because when your mindset is not there, when your mindset is not happy, when your mindset is not engaged in the operation or sharing the same values as the company you're working for, you're not going to bring your best foot forward. You're not going to follow the second step I told you, which is be the best version of yourself. You have to be happy. That is my success, right? I know everyone has a different path to their success, but my success is I found ways to make me happy. Another thing I want to share. So first I want to apologize because I talk too much, so I'm keeping a timer to make sure I stay on time. But one of the things I always tell my staff is they always say, oh, I want to go to another job. I want to leave this role. I want to transfer to another state because where I'm at now is no good. I always tell them that you water your grass. Wherever you're at, you got to water your grass, right? The grass may not seem green where you're at now, but how much investment have you applied to your career, to your current struggles, to make sure that where you're at gets your focus and brings your best version of yourself? Consistency is a habit, not an action. Consistency is a habit, not an action. You cannot decide one day I'm gonna be consistent. No, that don't work that way. Every day you got to work at being consistent. If you're not consistent, it don't count. It really doesn't. I'm in a leadership role. If I say, all right, guys, I tell my staff, today everyone can come in 1 minute late because it's okay. And then I come in 10 minutes late tomorrow and I'm not following those rules. And then the next day I try to say, oh no, everyone goes back to 1 minute. Your message has to be consistent or else it won't hold any weight. So whatever process, whatever value, whatever happiness you discover for yourself, uh, be consistent at it. Be consistent because if you're not consistent, you're gonna lose respect. You're for yourself, for your staff, for your counterparts, for your boss. So if you're gonna consistently be on time, for be the first to a meeting, do it every day. Don't just do it on Fridays because you know your weekend's coming up. Don't just do it on Mondays because you know your boss is there on Mondays. Do it every day. Be consistent. Have integrity, and make it a habit, not an action. I said this earlier, but no one knows yourself more than you. You know your weakness. You know when you're happy. You know when you're unhappy. You know what your goals are. So ask yourself, be real with yourself because no one else is going to talk. No one else is going to be real with you but you, right? So be real with yourself. Hey, this is not what I want. I'm not happy. I was happy 5 years ago, but I ain't happy now. What changed that? What can you do to change that? Or do you have to change your path? Uh, but again, at the end of the day, you got to weigh it all out, right? Because the reality sits in and we all got to pay bills. But find yourself. No one knows you better than yourself. Be honest with yourself, and you'll discover the truth. That's the reality. You gotta be honest with yourself. Know your competition, but don't obsess with it. That is huge, right? Because a lot of times people are like, oh, you focus on what you don't have, you focus on what other people have, and that if that consumes you, that's all you're gonna focus on. It's like a flashlight, right? If you focus the light on one spot, that's all you're gonna focus on. Everything else is a blur. And you're gonna mess it all up, right? Don't focus on your competitors. You still want to study them. You want to know what they do that makes them strong. It's like a football team or a football game, right? You want to study your competitors, but then at the end of the day, you got to focus on you. Focus on what you can do right. Focus on how you can be the best version of yourself. Focus on, are you coming early? Are you studying? Are you investing in yourself? Make the focus on you, but you got to know the competitors, but make the focus on you. Don't obsess over it. After you've discovered yourself, the next step is setting goals. That sounds awesome, right? Because we all do it every year during New Year's Eve. We say, all right, the goal is to lose 10 pounds. And I'm sure 95% of us on this webinar probably don't, right? So setting goals is important, right? So after you discover yourself, you got to set goals. And part of setting goals is discovering yourself, which kind of recaps, again, what I talked about earlier. I think Liz might are you having trouble? Oh, there it is. That's fine,
Yeah,
Liz.
Curtis,
You
I'm
can
so sorry. It was just freezing for some.
That's all right. You can leave it like that. So setting goals, you got to discover yourself. What are your values? What motivates you? What makes you happy? What do you want to accomplish in your life? And what are your skills? And how do you intend to apply it? How do you intend to apply your skills to your life? These are very important questions to ask yourself because, guys, you're not going to get anywhere. Your growth mindset is not going to get any better if you don't know yourself. So if you don't have the answers to these questions now, take the time to sit down and really ask yourself, what are your values? My values are respect and family and dignity and integrity, right? I focus on those every day I wake up. What motivates you? My family motivates me. Opportunities for growth, my staff development, making impacts on customers. So you got to find out what motivates you. Again, be honest with yourself. Don't lie because no one knows you better than yourself. What makes you happy, right? Because remember I said, if you're coming to work every day and you're unhappy, you're not being the best version of yourself. You got to pick a career, pick a path that makes you happy and invest in that. Give all your attention, work hard at it every day, and be the hardest person working in the room. But you got to be happy. You got to be. What do you want to accomplish in your life? That's a very hard question, right? Because that's always the $1,000,000 question everyone asks in an interview. What's your 5-year plan? What's your 10-year plan? And I'm just like, I'm just trying to get by, man. I'm just trying to pay the bills. You gotta know, right? It's a question you gotta know for yourself. What do you want to accomplish in your life? You only have one life. In the statement I said earlier, you hold the keys to your life. You're only given one chance at what we call life. And it's your job to understand what you want to do. So what do you want to accomplish in your life? Ask that question to yourself and then make a plan to execute it. What skills do you have and how do you intend to do it? Everyone has different skills, right? I wish I was a basketball player and I wish I was 7 feet tall, but I'm not. So I gotta figure out what skills I have and use that to my interest or my benefit. And that skill is I love to smile, I love to take care of people, I love to have a good time, and I love to invest in my staff. So I feel maybe because I'm good at that's why I take my skills to where I'm at now, which is leadership, development, and management. So discover yourself. Answer these questions. I promise you, you'll take one step closer to having a growth mindset. Now, after you discovered yourself, now it's time to set goals. Now, like I said earlier, when we all come to New Year's Eve, we always set a goal. We never get it. We probably hit 5% of whatever goals we set. So set goals. Set daily goals. Set weekly goals. Set yearly goals. Hold yourself accountable. Accountability. Without accountability, goals don't mean anything. So set your goals. Write it down. Put it in a calendar. Tell your wife. Tell your other half. Make them hold you accountable. Whoever you aspire to be, tell your mentor what you want to be. Let them hold you accountable. Accountability is part of the progress on setting goals and being successful. Be realistic but ambitious at the same time, right? Because you don't want to be like, yes, I get it, right? You want to dream big, and that's the common statement everyone tells you. Dream big, the sky's your limit. But be realistic, right? Be realistic because you want to be able to set goals that you can achieve. Because if you set a goal that you cannot hit, for whatever reason that is, like I want to be a 7 foot basketball player. I can't do that because I can't grow anymore. So whenever you set a goal you cannot achieve, you're going to just give yourself more doubt. Set realistic goals that you know you can hit. Set realistic daily goals, realistic weekly goals, realistic yearly goals that you know if you put the time, the hard work, the best effort, you'll get there. Because that is the core, right, to having that growth mindset. It's your goal, so be creative. So what does that mean? And so I asked my son before this webinar. I said, Caleb, what's your goals in life, and what do you plan to do? And he, of course, being a young teenager, he wants to own lots of cars, luxury cars, and put them in a big garage that has 20 cars, and nothing wrong with that. When you set a goal, you want to have fun. You want to be creative because it's those goals, those dreams that give you the ideas of what you need to do to get there, right? So it's your goal. No one's going to tell you how to set your goal. So be creative, have fun, dig deep, really understand you. What do I need to do to be there? So set your goal and have fun. If you don't dream it, it will never happen, right? So if you're sitting in your chair right now and you're like, Kurt, I don't have a dream. I just want to work hard and come to work. That's fine and all. But if you want it to be successful, if you want it to be whatever success means to you, role in a position or life or whatever, you got to dream it. You got to know where you're going. It's like you're telling me you want to go from your house to the store, but you don't know how to get to the store, right? You got to know it. You got to see it. You got to have a vision. So you got to dream it. Dream big. Have fun. Be happy. Dig deep. Know yourself. Know your values. Know what you aspire to be. Celebrate your success no matter how small. That's a big one. Because success doesn't happen overnight. Being whatever future goal you want to be is not, there's no simple formula that says, all right, watch this video, tomorrow you'll be this. It doesn't work that way. Success takes time. Hard work will get you there. Celebrate your small achievements with the people that are positive around you, the people you aspire to be, your family and friends. Celebrate it because every small step is one step closer to your goal. All right, so you've discovered yourself, you've set goals. Now you need a plan of action because without a plan of action, You'll never get to where you want to be. So, plan of action is you will have to work hard for it. That is simple formula. So if you are sitting in your chair and you don't want to work hard for your future growth, then I'm sorry, because this having a growth mindset is about working hard. You gotta work hard. Again, no one's gonna measure how hard you're working but yourself. You gotta know your product. If when I first applied at Winn Resorts from Guam, I did all my research on what Winn Resorts had to offer, all the services they had, what they did to achieve their awards in Forbes 5 Star. You got to know your product. You've got to, because guess what? Someone other than you is studying harder than you to get that role. So you got to be the best version of yourself, and you got to know your stuff, because that is what's going to define how successful you are. Study, practice, apply, repeat. Do that every day. Study, invest in yourself, experience, education, webinars, practice. Practice in front of a mirror. Practice at a webinar. Practice with friends and family. Apply. Apply what you learn at work, at life, in your relationship, at home with your chores, and repeat that process over and over and over again. Hard work will get you where you want to be, but you got to make that choice to put the hard work to get the results. Track your progress. You got to know how your work you're doing, because if you don't know how you're doing, you can't celebrate the small achievement. And every small achievement is a great success, and that is what's going to give you the driver to want to get to your goal, because it's one step closer to your goal. Guys, the world sucks, so you got to expect delay and failure. You're going to fail. But guess what? You can make the choice to overcome it and strive. You can make the choice to overcome it and strive. Failures are going to happen. Delays are going to happen. But what are you going to do next after you've reached that obstacle? That is going to be the question for yourself. So you got to prepare for it. Expect it. And what do you do when that happens? Always expect the worst case scenario and have a plan of action. So after you set your goals, the next step is to, I want to talk about is how do you overcome failure? Because guess what, guys? Failure is going to happen. You're going to fail. All of us failed many times throughout our life, through our careers, through our personal life. So failure is going to happen. Liz, can you go to the next slide, please? Or is it freezing? So what I want to tell you about failure is I want to change your mindset on what you think about failure. So let's first discover what is the definition of failure. Failure is an act or instance of failing or proving unsuccessful, lack of success. When we hear the word failure, most people think of you're not good enough, you should have given up, right? That's what you think when you hear failure. I want to give you a story. Edison, the inventor of light bulbs, said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. I am discouraged. I am not discouraged because of every wrong attempt discarded is another step forward." You know what my definition of failure, guys, is simple. Failure is when you choose to give up. When you choose to give up, that is failure. So I don't know about you, but I don't choose to give up. I don't choose to fail. I'm going to keep striving. It's part of the process. Failure is going to happen. You got to keep repeating what you're doing, get better, master your craft, be the best version of yourself, and never give up. You're going to make that choice, and it's going to happen. Like I told you, I've held 10, 11 roles with the company for Winn Resorts. You know how many interviews I've been in? If I held 10, 11 roles, I've done maybe 20 or 30 interviews. So I've failed at many interviews, but I didn't give up. I chose not to give up. So today, make that choice not to give up. Change your mindset to failure. Changing your mindset to failure means fall forward, not backwards. What does that mean? That means when you fall down, do you fall on your butt and stay there and just be like, "Oh, I missed it. I can't get up. I don't know how to do it." It's like if you skateboard, right? And you try to do an ollie, or you try to do some trick if you don't know what ollie is, and you fail and you're like, I can't do it. I give up. Then you're never going to be able to master an ollie or a trick. So you got to keep practicing. You got to keep failing so you know what not to do, so you can get better and better. Fall forward, not backwards. So when you fall forward and say, what can I do so that I can learn from that failure to be better? Failure is a part of growth. You will fail to grow. That's just process. That's part of the way. When you hit rock bottom, I always tell my staff is the only way from there is up, right? If you are in a current state, right, in your current life, personal, career, whatever that is, if you in your own mindset said, Kurt, I have hit rock bottom, there's no way to go from here, then guess what, guys? There's good news coming. The only way from where you're at now is up. And guess what? Today you chose to come to this webinar, so you're ready one step forward. So the only way after you hit rock bottom is up. So good job, congratulations, and focus on that. Learn from your failures, adapt and grow. What I always try to tell myself is never make the same mistake. I'm going to make a million mistakes over my lifetime through my personal life, through career, but I'm never going to make that mistake again. I'm going to learn, I'm going to adapt, and I'm going to grow. I'm going to teach myself to be better, be the best version of myself, be the best husband, be the best father, be the best director, be the best individual to society, to the community, and I'm going to choose to grow. Don't be afraid to think outside the box, because it's those types of leaders that really shine. I love to challenge myself and think outside the box, but I've really partnered myself up with great leaders that do that. But don't be afraid. If you're one of those individuals that has a very creative mind, find a career path that really strives for that, whether it's advertising or sales, because you know the one constant thing is change, right? And if you're not working hard enough, everyone else around you is working hard enough. So using that mindset, think if you own a company, right? Let's say you own a restaurant and you're just there to serve whatever that is, and you're not moving with the times, you're not investing in the company. Another company is going to work harder to be better than you, and they're constantly going to strive to be better than you. And then at the end of the day, they're going to get better than you, right? So think outside the box. Always be in the know of what's going on in the industry for whatever career path you pick. That is going to get you to be successful, because you always got to think, what can you do next? Because even after you reach the top of the mountain in your career, in your path, guess what, guys? You're going to look at the top of the mountain, you're going to find another taller mountain, and you're like, what do I got to do to get to that mountain? And then when you get to that mountain, the top of that mountain, you're going to look over the sea and you see another mountain. You'll be like, how do I climb that mountain? It doesn't end. It keeps going and going and going. You're going to constantly train your mind to work hard every day, to grow and learn, and then choose to make an investment in yourself. Tell yourself failure is not an option, right? I've been saying that over and over. You gotta train your mind, your value, your soul, your heart, everything. But you gotta follow all the other steps I said first, right? You gotta be happy. You gotta discover yourself. But choose not to fail. Choose not to fail. Failure is when you choose to give up. Write that down if you're taking notes. Failure is when you choose to give up. Be a student to your failures. Be a student to your craft. Be a student to your work ethics. Be a student to everything you do. Study yourself. Know yourself well. Know what makes you tick. Know what makes you happy. Know what makes you smile. Know what makes you strive to be better, and apply it to yourself. If you don't fail, you're not trying hard enough, right? It's like that one saying, I forgot what cartoon that was, never fail, never try, right? It's the most craziest quote, because you're aiming low and you're hitting low. But if you want to aim high, if you want to reach your goals in life, whatever goal that is, you got to fail to be successful. If you're not failing, you're not trying hard enough. Explore, think out the box, be better than everyone. Understand your competitors, be the hardest worker. There will be people rooting for you to fail. There will be people rooting for you to fail. But my question to you is, will you fail? Will you choose to fail? I hope your answer is no. I really do. So here are some tips to success. Never give up. Never give up. You're going to get knocked down by people in your career, by your personal life. They're going to root for you to fail. But don't. Get up. Choose to get up. Choose to not fail. Never give up. Dream big. It's your dream, so dream it. Dream away. Whatever dream it is to eventually own your own island, go for it. Do it. But just understand, whatever dream you choose, you have to work hard for it. And you got to take the steps necessary to invest in yourself to your goals. Always be kind to others. Guys, I don't know how much I underlined it, each key word, so you guys can write that down. Be kind to others. You never know
who's going to be, where everyone's going to end up in their career. In the hospitality industry, I personally feel it's a very small industry, so everyone knows everybody. So you just never know. I could be a director managing a line level valet attendant, but 10 years from today, he could probably be my boss. You just never know. But if I treat that valet attendant with dignity, respect, with the right values, when he is my boss eventually, he's gonna be like, man, I remember Curtis because when I was just his line level, he respected me. He was a hard worker. He was always on time, always came in, looked sharp, dressed to impress. And then when a job opens up, he's gonna think of me because he's gonna be like, I remember 10 years ago when you were my boss. I like that value, right? You just never know, and you never know everyone's story. Everyone has a different story. You don't know what they've done to get to where they are today. Everyone had a different path in their career. My path now, but everyone's path is different. Some are harder than others. And the truth is hard to measure that, right? Because my hard life, I measure different than how you would measure your life, right? So everyone's path through their career is different. Be kind to others. Don't disrespect them. Treat others like how you want to be treated. Like how Liz said, you on my bio is treat others the way you want to be treated. Look back at your failures, but don't forget to look forward to your growth, right? So know what you've done to fail, but learn, right? So don't fall backwards, fall forward. Look forward to what you got to do next. If you focus too much on the past, that's where you're going to live. You're going to live in the past. Don't focus too much on your failures in the past. Look forward to what you can do next. I said this earlier, life is tough. Nothing will be given to you. At a very young age, I was partnered up with a boss of mine that was one of the bosses I told you earlier where I had good bosses and bad bosses. This boss wasn't the greatest. And I remember applying for a job, and this individual said, you will never get it uh, because you don't have what it takes. And I tell you what, I'm so grateful for that message because 20 years now, look at me now. And that person has given me the energy, the fire to prove that person wrong, right? And that person didn't even know that I carry this message with me everywhere I go. But life is tough. You're going to get people to push you down, that challenge you, to say you're not good enough. Don't take it. Don't accept it. Choose your path. Make a choice to develop in yourself. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. That's hard, right? Because it kind of goes in line with what I said. You're always in an interview, right? Putting your best foot forward for every encounterment you're ever a part of. But if you're always ready, whatever that is, let's say I keep relating to sports, but if you're a basketball player and you never practice and you go to the game once a week and you're not ready, you're going to struggle, right? So always be ready because you never know when an opportunity is to come knocking on your door, and everything's going to be on the line. I know I've told you I've been in the industry for 20 years. I've probably been promoted 18, 19 times. And I've always had to be ready. I've always had to have the ready mindset because you never know what's going to come knocking. Sometimes with your career paths, it's all about timing as well. Sometimes you just get lucky on timing, right? So it's a combination of that hard work and having the ready mindset. Success is measured by your happiness, not others' opinion. That is a hard pill to swallow, right? Because social media, current generations, everything's about what other people think of us. But guess what, guys? You are the only one that can discover what makes you happy. That's the truth. Everyone's happiness is different. My son's happiness was owning a garage full of luxury cars. It's different. I could be living on a rock and be happy with my family because my happiness is my family, right? It don't really matter where I'm at. I just have a joy for what I do and I love what I do. So happiness is discovered by you, discovering yourself and what makes you happy, and that will guide you to your growth mindset. All right. So to recap everything we've talked about, what do you have to do to have a growth mindset? Dream big, but remember, dreams without goals are just dreams. You know yourself best, so be your best version of yourself every day. Not once in a while. You have to have a consistent basis every day. Hard work is not easy, but the reward at the end of the journey will be amazing, right? It's that story everyone says, you hard work, climb to the top of the mountain, and you get to enjoy what you see at the top of the mountain, right? Hard work will always equal results. Hard work will always get you to where you want to be. When you're setting goals, be realistic so that you can enjoy the simple success between the steps that you take to get to your goals. Be realistic, but dream big because it's your goal. No one else can discover you but you. Celebrate your accomplishments no matter how big or small. Surround yourself by individuals that inspire you or have a positive impact in your life. If you surround yourself by people that don't inspire you or have a negative impact in your life, eventually that's what you're going to live in. That's going to be your life. You're going to have a negative impact towards your career. Surround yourself by people that inspire you to grow, to want to be better every day at whatever that is. Failure is a choice. Make the choice not to fail. Failure is a choice. Make the choice not to fail. Never stop learning, guys. Today, you made a choice to take this webinar. So great job. Congratulations. But study, practice, apply, and repeat. Do that every day throughout your life with your career, your personal attempts, and everything. So, what can you start doing now? Congratulations. Step one is attend the webinar. Good job. Keep it going. And I'm so honored and proud to be a part of this. So thank you, Liz. Set goals, daily, weekly, yearly goals. Keep track of those goals and celebrate your goals then on how you've accomplished them on a daily basis. Discover yourself. You can't set goals. You can't be successful until you know yourself. So discover yourself. Go back to what I said about those 5 questions. What are your values? Are you happy? Where do you see yourself in the future? Get to work and be the hardest worker. Have fun with it because at the end of the day, that's all that matters. You only have one life. Have fun, guys. Pick a path. It's your path. It's your goal. Pick a path so you can enjoy it and have fun with it. If you have to, you're when you get to, in your careers, if it's similar to mine, I spend all my time with my work employees. Very limited time with my family. So have fun. They are part of you. They are part of your journey. So pick a goal, have fun, and enjoy it. So I have a question for you. I have a few questions actually. Will you make a choice today to have a growth mindset? Are you ready to invest in yourself? And are you ready to work hard? And I'll answer that for you all because you guys are all amazing. You have already said yes to these questions by attending this webinar. You had made a choice to invest in yourself. Now the next decision is up to you. What are you going to do with what you've learned today? So the choice is yours. What choice would you make? And that concludes my presentation. Before we pass it back to Liz, I just want to say thank you all so much for making me a part of this. Liz, your foundation does such a great job providing this type of material to young leaders and people who want to be successful in their careers. So it's an absolute honor and pleasure of mine to be a part of this. And I've shared with you below my contact information. Please, I put it out there. Do not hesitate to reach out to me. I can be an additional resource to you and your personal growth in your career, and I would love to be a part of that. So my contact information is there for you, and I hope one day I can meet you in person and shake hands with you after this whole COVID-19, maybe do a fist bump or something. But
Right.
thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you, Curtis. Thank you so much for this. This has been great. A couple of comments in the chat. It was Benjamin Franklin who said, failure to prepare is preparing to fail. And that is definitely the truth. I also had, there is a quote, and I really can't remember who said it right now, but the quote is that if you're the smartest person in your group, you need to find another group because you're not.
Yeah.
Good. And I think about that all the time. So, so Curtis, I do appreciate your being here. Curtis Borja, Director of Front Service for Encore Boston Harbor. Thank you so much. We are having the next webinar for Taylor for Success will be on June 3rd, and it will be all about dressing to impress, dressing in person, when we are all able to get back into the office, but also how to prepare to make yourself look very professional for a virtual interview or whatever comes up, any type of call. So stay tuned for that. I will be sending out some information on that. So with that, I want to thank everyone for your participation today. The nuggets in this webinar have just been fantastic. I mean, if you're a student of personal and professional development like I am, and you're always listening to podcasts or going on webinars. A lot of the things that Curtis has said, some things that I've known, but it's always great to get a reminder of what you need to do. So, like he said, I congratulate you all for being on this webinar, and thank you again to Curtis, and we hope to see you all soon. So have a great rest of the day, everyone, and stay safe.
Thank you. Have a good day.